Welcome to the Scratch Golf Show. If you're new here, my name is Marco. Thanks for stopping by. I'm your host. Very excited to bring you our second interview here on the Caddie Corner. We have Derek Smith, Caddie for Denny McCarthy, making his podcast debut. Really excited to share it with you guys. It's a great one. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we get into the interview. As always, if you could hit the subscribe button below, we're on the road to 500 subs before the end of the year. Leave a comment as to what your favorite Derek story was. Like the video. All that stuff really helps me, and I really appreciate it. Our video here at the Scratch Golf Show are always brought to you by our sponsors at Core Chiropractic and Performance Center, a local family-owned business here in the area in Michigan. If you're local, please stop by. Doctors Billy and Maddie do a number of different services from chiropractic, injury rehabilitation, and sports performance. Dr. Maddie focuses on all things women's health. My wife and I see them. We can't endorse their services enough. Schedule your free consultation at CoreCPC.com and mention the Scratch Golf Show upon arrival to receive a discount on your first appointment. Now, let's get into the interview with Derek. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey guys, we have our second episode here of the Caddie Corner. Really cool guest. Really excited to do this one. Been wanting to do it for a while, but we have Derek Smith, Caddie for Denny McCarthy. If you guys know, we are a pro Denny McCarthy podcast here. So, Derek, thanks for joining me, man. I really appreciate it and looking forward to talking today.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess before we get into everything, do you just want to do just a brief intro of who you are to the people of the Scratch Golf Show here, and then we'll get into the conversation for today.
Yeah, Derek Smith. I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Grew up in Oklahoma, a couple small towns out in western Oklahoma. Played golf at Wichita State and Texas Tech. Finished up school at Oklahoma. Met my wife randomly through some mutual friends living in Oklahoma City when I was starting to play a little bit after school. And she was about to start law school over here at Arkansas. So live over here now. Been over here like 15 years now. So Fayetteville is. And my wife's an attorney here in Fayetteville.
Nice.
We've got two little girls. And
yeah. Girl dad, family, man.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
Right.
Cool. Well, like I said, I know I've been wanting to do this one for a while. Like I said, I know we were just talking offline. I'm very pro Denny, been Denny fan for a long time. So let's start there because I know this is your first time doing a podcast, and the world's curious on how you guys started working together, how you guys met, and then what your relationship's like on and off the golf course. So let's start there.
So 2016, had been playing for 7 or so years, and hadn't made it through Q school. Didn't have any status, just playing kind of wherever I could. And, I played the Monday in Wichita. So then the Wichita connection, one of my best friends lives up there. I was spending the week up there, even whether I Mondayed or not. Had some stuff going on. A buddy from here named Ethan Tracy, who had played at Arkansas, I knew him. He was playing at the time. He had a spot in Wichita. He didn't have any status. I think he'd won a mini tour event or something to get a spot. And we'd played some golf the week before or whatever, and I had told him that I was going to be around, like if I don't qualify, like Tuesday, if I qualify, we'll play a practice round together or whatever. If I don't, he said something about his dad coming and caddying for him and wasn't going to be there. I was like, well, I'll caddy for you on Tuesday. I don't qualify or whatever, we'll figure it out. So I'm at the course on Tuesday waiting on Ethan. He's going to play at like 1. He was driving up Tuesday morning from Fayetteville, 4.5 hours. He was getting there at 1 or 1:30, whatever. I'm sitting there waiting for him with a couple caddies who I know well now. I didn't know at the time. And then another buddy who played also that was caddying for a buddy of his or whatever. We're just BSing, whatever. And Denny comes in. He just played the U.S. Open at Oakmont. He didn't have a full-time caddy. His brother had caddied the U.S. Open for him the week before, and he comes up. He'd been getting locals for the last few events. So he comes up. We're like sitting by the caddy area or whatever. He comes walking over, just going to line up his local caddy for the week, right? He's a rookie, the Corn Ferry, Web.com tour at the time. I think he'd played 10 events. He was, I want to say, in the 70s on the money list. So he'd done a little bit, but was off to an okay start for a rookie. And I hadn't paid much attention to amateur golf, so I didn't really even know who he was or whatever. He comes up, I get to talking to him. I'm like, well, heck, I'm going to be here all week. I'll caddy for you. I'm like, why not? And he was obviously a good player. He was on the tour and whatever.
Right.
So I line up a local to caddy for Ethan. He wasn't there yet. He was actually a little bit late. If he had gotten there on time, I probably still wouldn't even have been sitting there.
Yeah,
And,
that's wild.
So I line up a buddy, another local, to go help him, whatever. And I go walking over the putting green, and there's the Nike, but he was a Nike guy at the time. There were a couple
I remember that.
the blue Nike bags laying there, and him and Keith Mitchell, who I didn't really know at the time, were out there on the putting green. Nike reps. Nike still had clubs at the time or whatever, talking about whatnot. And I see one of them standing. It's Keith's bag. It's got Keith's name on it. I know Denny is Denny. It hadn't even registered his last name was McCarthy. Like that. I wasn't really following. Obviously, if I had, I would have known who he was or whatever. And there's this other blue bag laying there on the ground. I go pick it up. Okay, Denny McCarthy, and there's a Walker Cup putter cover laying next to it. I was like, oh, this kid can really play. I didn't even know. Like I said, I didn't follow any of that stuff.
Right.
So we go play that Tuesday. We go play 18 holes, just me and him. He's tired, hitting whatever shots. I remember we had a good time. Whatnot. He's not in the Wednesday Pro-Am, so I don't even know if I saw him on Wednesday or whatever. He didn't ask me to come out and do anything. So off we go. I caddied a couple of events for buddies who had Monday'd in, basically, but that was the extent of my caddying. Yeah. And we played the tournament. I remember he was having a good week. We were in one of the maybe next to last group on Sunday, so like top 6 or so, maybe third to last, doesn't matter. Yeah, I remember Saturday night, my wife had come up. We were staying, like I said, with my friends there. We were doing some stuff that weekend with them. And I remember saying Saturday night in my buddy's living room, like, I'm pretty sure this kid's going to offer me a job tomorrow when we get done. I'd be an idiot not to take it. Not that I'm going to caddy for him for however long, but he's really good. He could be on the PGA Tour next year. So we had a good day Sunday. I think he ended up finishing 4th. And he comes walking out of scoring and offered me a job. And
that's awesome.
Off we went. There was a week off after Wichita. I remember going home, and then like the next event was up in Erie, Pennsylvania. I think we played there, like Springfield, Illinois, the couple weeks after. He had another good week in Erie. I mean, those 2 weeks he went from 70 whatever to like 40th on the money list. He finished top 10 again, and so we were up there with a chance to go get on the PGA Tour, and off we went.
Yeah. So, and then was that the year he won the web.com championship?
No. That would have even been a couple years later that he did that. Okay. So he didn't get to the tour that year. Okay. He played the web again in 2017. I was still playing a little bit here and there. I played some mini tour events early in 2017. He even played a run of Mondays like that summer. That's 2017, that next summer. Yeah. While caddying, snuck in one, even played one event there along the way. Yeah. And then 2017, didn't quite get his card in the regular season again. He got it in the web finals in 2017. Okay. Got on tour. Then 17-18 was his rookie year. I think he finished 149. So we had to go back to the web finals to get a spot back. So he was still on tour, but he had that 126 to 150 spot. Yeah. We needed to go back and make it better get back in our category. Well, he did one better, and actually winning that tour championship that year, he won that 4 tournament web tour finals. Yeah. And so then it was like he made the playoffs. It basically got him a spot like he had finished 125 the year before. And nice. Yeah, he's at least made the playoffs every year since. So
off you went. Yeah, man. It's been quite a wild ride. I think I met him in 2017. I think that was the year. And I remember the first time I met him was we were out, and I'd asked him a question, like, obviously for me at the time, I was a huge golf guy. Like, I was 22 probably. I had no idea what Korn Ferry Tour life was like. Looking back on it now, it was not that great. But he was so cool.
Caddying out there, like that was the most stressful year for sure, 17. It was
I'm sure.
We got to get to the PGA Tour. I can't do this year. You're not making, you can't make any money caddying. No. The purses have gone up a little since then. Yeah. But you don't starve, especially with a good player. But it's not not the kind of job you want. Basically, you're doing to get to the big tour,
to get to the next one. Yeah, and that's what we've heard from other guys. Like, you don't want to be on the Korn Ferry Tour for web.com, whatever it is. But
it's worth being there for the right guy and get to having a guy that can go do well on the next one. But you don't want to be there long.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And Denny's such a humble guy. I just remember like when I was like talking to him, like he was so appreciative of just me just like having him a fan. I make a joke that like I added him on the PGA Tour favorites on the app. I added him like that week and he hasn't left my favorites since. But I just remember asking him because he came out with the Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth class, but he was even back then said like I can compete with those guys. And it's so
Yeah,
cool now to kind of see you guys coming into your shine the last few years, getting more recognition from podcasts. Like, for example, I don't know how much YouTube you watch. You just got a shout out in the Brian Bros last video for being a really good putter. So it's cool to
yeah.
see kind of what you guys have done. But let's talk a little bit about your relationship. It seems like for you, I read an article that you said the coolest moment in your golf life was Denny getting his card. And so it seems
Yeah.
like you guys have the relationship of kind of like you're kind of like a ride or die almost. Right? You will go to the ends of the
Pretty
earth for this
much.
guy.
Yeah. He's become more or less like my little brother in a way. Like
Yeah.
I just want him to win everything, and
Yeah.
I want to do whatever I can to help him. Yeah, I mean he's incredibly talented, and yeah, I mean the last he's had good years here, but even like these last 3 years, last year and then this one especially, I mean they've been really disappointing to not get him to East Lake, and
Yeah.
I feel as much as anyone like he belongs there, and to come up a little short has really sucked. But yeah, they
Yeah.
have been good years. We've had a lot of good moments in there, and I mean it's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
look forward
For sure.
to more of them. So he's
Yeah, for sure.
got many good years left in him. So we're
Oh
not.
yeah, and I feel like he's the kind of guy. Once he gets one, two, and three are not going to be far behind.
No, no, that's kind of I'm ready for that moment where when we do
Yeah,
get one, like staying focused on getting more. We're not,
yeah,
and the
for sure.
one is one. A lot of guys win once, stumble into
Yeah,
one. That you start separating yourself when you become a guy that goes
multi-time winner.
and does more. Yeah,
Yeah, and when you put it as well as him, I mean,
it's
you just
always a
got to
challenge,
get one.
and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious a little bit about your guys' process. It's from not so much from the putting perspective, just overall. Like, what goes into your process when you're giving him a number? Do you read putts for him, or is he just more of like I got it because he's obviously the best
I
putter in the world?
Right. Yeah. And so early on, I read. I mean, I not ever most putts with him
Yeah,
for at least 4 years, maybe longer, even early on tour. And now I don't read many putts. It's
yeah,
he doesn't need me. He's become as good a green reader as I think you can be. I mean, there's
yeah,
more. I'll get called in on like some trickier ones that are a little straighter when he's not sure, but he's
yeah.
usually sure, and he keeps making putts. So I mean,
Yeah, for
when I
sure.
was helping him, I mean, he made a lot of putts like early in his PGA Tour career too, and so when I
Yeah,
read more, and now it's really just gotten to a point where I'm a lot better green reader now than I was when I was helping him all the time,
yeah,
and he just doesn't need it. He's got it.
yeah,
He knows what things are doing. His instincts are amazing, and yeah, he's just really. It's been really cool to watch him only like improve. Because he with all that great putting, even early in his PGA Tour career. I mean, he used some of that great putting basically kept him his card as he was
yeah,
going through some ball striking struggles and stuff. I mean, he's improved that immensely, and
yeah.
but yeah, just with the putting, just continuing to refine it and get better. It's been pretty
Yeah.
impressive to watch.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I hear like everyone. Like I remember just watching Golf Channel one day. They were showing like they were talking. I think it was after the U.S. Open, ironically, because they were talking about Rory missing those short putts, and they were showing Denny putting. It was Brandel talking about like this guy, and like I said, it's cool to see him get some shine. And I think he's much more of a better golfer than just a putting guy, right? From his
Definitely,
perspective, but
definitely.
it's cool to see him get some shine from just a lot of the people realizing what we knew a long time ago that he had some
Right.
game.
Well, he's
Um,
brought the rest of his game to a point where he's getting the bigger finishes.
right,
Rather great putting to finish 18th where nobody's paying attention.
right.
He's used it to contend and have a lot better years and become
Right,
more. So yeah,
right.
it definitely gets more recognized at that point.
Speaking of making a lot of putts and contending, let's move to Sunday at the Valero. I don't want to open up an old wound for you guys.
Uh,
One of
that was probably the most fun 2 hours I've ever had on a golf course.
I just rewatched the highlights again. I was glued to the TV that day. I think I fist pumped harder than he did when he made that putt on 18. But I'll set the stage, and then I'll turn it over to you. So if you guys didn't watch the Valero, Denny was, I think, 4 back entering the day at San Antonio behind Akshay. Went to the back 9 down 6. Shot at back 9, 28, 7 straight birdies. I think he had like 8 or 9, 10 putts, whatever it was. Ultimately lost in the playoff. But what I want to focus on is that back 9 from your perspective. Like, how was that? And just talk me through that back 9.
It was funny. So I remember walking down. So Brendan Todd was the third in our group that day. We were playing threesome. And I remember walking down 10 fairway. Yeah, we're 6 behind. I think we were probably at least a couple clear of Rory for 7 or whatever. 2, I think. Yeah. At that point, whatever. And Brendan Todd makes the comment, like, I don't remember the whole context of the conversation. I was kind of walking a little bit in front of him, but I was there. Something about what he was saying was basically conceding the tournament to Akshay. Something we can see that he was playing great, and like maybe one of us could come back and shoot. Brendan makes the comment along the lines of like one of us can come back and shoot 18 next year and or whatever. And I was and I just thinking to myself, I know Denny was too. I kind of mumbled it to myself. I was like, well, one of us still can. But it got to the ball, and Denny got there, and I kind of said something to him, and he had basically thought the same thing already. Like, okay, well, here we go. And he hits this wedge in there, the back fringe. He was probably 15 or 18 feet on the fringe. He knocks it in. Akshay was also in the back fringe, a little bit inside of Denny, so he putted after Denny. Runs it like 3 or 4 feet by, and we're standing. Me and Denny kind of walked over by the stands behind the green. Yeah. And I'm standing there, and we're kind of on the other side of the hole from Akshay, but not really. We're off to the side. We're in the shade. We're amongst like some media and stuff. We're not standing on the other side of the hole. And I'm already thinking like we're not moving right here. Because Akshay's got to hit this 4-footer that he shouldn't even have had. I don't even know why he hit his putt that far by or whatever. And Denny actually, I'm ready to answer Denny's question about moving. And he asked me, should we move? And I was like, no. We stood right there. He couldn't see us. We definitely weren't in the way. Yeah. But it was what little bit of gamesmanship you could maybe pull. Yeah. And then he misses the putt. And okay, we walked to the 11th tee. We're only 4 behind. Yeah. And, so we go to 11. Denny didn't hit a great wedge in there after a good tee shot. Has 25 feet, rolls it 4 or 5 feet by even, and then Akshay makes like an 18-footer to go back up 5. So then Denny's got like 4.5 feet to stay within 5. Well, he knocks that. And we go to the 12th tee, and Denny's 5 behind, and then all hell broke loose for 2+ hours. Denny makes a 30-footer on 12. Akshay makes a good par, and then we just birdied every hole. Akshay really didn't flinch. It was pretty impressive. The biggest moment being, so Denny chips in on 15, and then 16 goes over and hits a 9-iron to 8 or 10 feet, and Akshay chunks a wedge short right of the green. And TV didn't do that shot justice. Like where he was down short right of the green was way below the green. Like he was in the fairway, but it wasn't like a pitch I expected him to hit to 10 feet. But he's supposed to have a 5 or 6 footer for par there. Yeah. And what were we? Probably 3 behind right there.
Yeah, I think it was 19 to 16.
We were only 2 behind right there. We were only 2 behind 16. On 16. And Denny knocks in his boy. Akshay hits the chip up to like 3 feet. It was a great, incredible shot. But Denny makes his putt, and Akshay knocks it in. We go over to 17. Denny hits a great tee shot. Akshay hits it left in the bunker, drivable or whatever, chips it down, has 3 feet for birdie. Akshay misses a 5-footer, and we walked to 18 tied. And the playoff basically began at that point. And so the good wedge, the putt he makes there. It was where I know TV. I thought TV made it look like Denny's ball was inside of Akshay's, but Denny was like 6 inches further or something. Rules official even came up and said, we saw it on the board. Rules official even kind of walked out and said Denny's first, like because it was so close or whatever. Yeah. And he knocks that in, and I just gave the flag away, and we went and stood in the back, and Akshay made a great putt.
Akshay matched him,
It was
man.
like, yeah,
That
he
was.
matched it.
I want to go back to, I think it was, and you'll know more than me. I don't know if it was 13 or 14. You guys, I think it's a long par 3. You guys hit,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, a 4 or 5 iron that pitched.
Yeah, it was 5 iron. It was like 240 all the way back there, downhill.
And so from your perspective, like, are you giving him, like, is he only trying to carry that, 215 maybe? Because that thing released probably 20 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we even took a minute to hit the shot. It was a crosswind there. Well, it was supposed to be helping a little bit. Yeah. And then for a second as he got into it, I think I might have called him off of that one, or it might have been one where he just kind of backed off because he felt it almost hurt for a second. It never should have been hurting. If it was hurting, we didn't have enough club. Yeah. And but yeah, he's just getting in there and roasting this 5 iron. I remember seeing, I did go back and kind of scan through the coverage. They showed the ball speed on that 5 iron. Yeah. And that's as hard as he can hit a 5 iron.
Smoked it.
I'm looking at his ball speeds all the time, like on TrackMan and stuff when he's hitting shots, monitor, like looking at distances and checking to make sure our golf clubs are behaving properly and stuff. And that ball speed he put up was the absolute top end for that 5 iron. It was awesome. It was smashed and it went. Awesome. It was perfect. It was never going anywhere else. The part where it rolled back to 3 feet was nice, but it was.
That's awesome. So let me talk to you about the playoff. I know this is going to be probably, I don't love doing these types of conversations, but I just want to get insight from your perspective. Like, I went on the show and did about 20-minute, like I said, my first live show or my first video on YouTube was that week. I went on like a 20-minute rant about the guy just shot 28. There's no way that the playoff pressure got to him. Like, you don't chase a guy down from 6 only to lose that in the playoff. He made a bad swing at the worst possible time. And that's my opinion.
He just got distracted by a few things. A lot of I got asked a lot about Akshay's deal and his injury and stuff. Him doing a shoulder thing or whatever, and it didn't matter. It didn't affect anything that we did. He just got distracted by some things and felt like there was a bug on the other side of his ball and stuff too. Yeah. He felt he'd already kind of backed off. The wind was tough that day. It had gone to a weird direction, being kind of northeast. Yeah. And it was moving around, and just the way those holes set in there, it was just really awkward. And then that's just a really hard wedge shot with that pin over there. Tucked like it was. Like, you got the wind wrong. I mean, you just had to be really precise with it. Yeah. But he'd already kind of taken a minute to hit the shot. I guess he felt kind of rushed in a way. I mean, that whole day it kind of been just me letting him go in a way. We got picked, and you get out of his way when it's like that. Yeah. He basically just got distracted. There wasn't anything other than. I figured. I mean, if there was any pressure to anything, he'd hit a bad shot long before that. I mean, it was just a combination of a lot of things that crap just happens, really. Yeah, and that, for people who don't realize, like 20 under, like people see on the PGA Tour 20 under whenever, like 20 under on that golf course is ridiculously impressive. I think you guys were 8 clear of third to get into a playoff, which is sick. 9. And you ran into a buzzsaw that 9. Sorry, 9 clear. We beat 9 by 9. Yes. So, and that golf course is really, really hard. So to play under that pressure on Sunday to chase a guy down, like Akshay too, like, I mean, he's gotten clipped in 2 playoffs by Hovland and Akshay. Like, what are you going to do there? Super unfortunate. But how do you, so like from your perspective, like that next day or whenever it was, you guys kind of talk through it. Like, how do you get your guy to bounce back from a week like that? Like, you obviously had like one of the best weeks playing, and then that happens. Right. I mean, that's, the grossest stat for that was that to throw in there that I heard was that strokes gain. The strokes gain for the week that him and Akshay had was good enough to win like the last 164 tour events, including majors. Oh, that's so that was kind of the grossest part. But no, as far as the bounce back, it was the next couple weeks were tough. I mean, it made it easier to go into Augusta. I mean, we packed up stuff, and I actually drove us in his courtesy car to the charter to Augusta, like as soon as we finished, basically. Yeah. The winner of the tournament had a small plane that they were hopping on after their media stuff or whatever. Yeah. We were understanding that this charter was sitting there waiting on us. Yeah. So we're like half rushing over there, and I mean, I don't know. It wasn't really. It was kind of like a darn. I mean, it still felt like a great day. It was disappointing, but I don't know. There wasn't really there wasn't really a down vibe to it. And then on top of that, you're just going to Augusta, so it's just
Right.
over
Yeah.
with.
I guess it could have
So,
happened on a worse week, but
it kind of becomes a deal in a way where it almost would have been better to just shoot 3 under on the back nine and lose by 4 and
right.
like, oh, Bakshay just played great. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Then it gets to that point, it kind of becomes another element where, man,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, on top of that, I mean, the positive of it was he basically made a putt to win a PGA Tour event. I mean,
Yeah.
Akshay's not a favorite to make his putt ever.
No.
He made it.
They're
We didn't
both
win
12
golf,
feet, which is
but
30%.
his reaction was amazing too. I loved it. The little hesitated.
Denny?
You're talking,
Akshay,
just the kind of hesitation, like,
yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty
Cool,
good.
calm, collected, but I'm good as fuck.
He did everything.
Kind of that type of vibe.
Incredible. That's why I said. I mean, that was the most fun I've ever had on a golf course. Was like even like chatting with the fans here and there, like when I go get waters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like just kind of popping off to them, like because it was kind of like the whole day was kind of an Akshay serenade for like.
Right.
Just with the crowd and everything, because it wasn't really that close, and then it all happened so fast. Like I felt like the fans almost basically flipped to Denny just because he made it such a great golf tournament so quickly.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey man, it was from my perspective, just the fans of the course. Like I said, I was glued to the TV that day. I told you, I might have fist pumped harder than he did when he made that putt on 18, and then my world was shattered when Akshay matched. And like I don't want to go too.
That was a great putt. I mean, you still had the feeling at that point, we're just going to make another one and beat him in a playoff. Yeah. It's fine.
Exactly.
Go
ahead.
No, I mean, it was just, on with it. I remember not really thinking. I don't know what Denny was thinking. Like I said, I gave the flag away, went and stood in the back. He was standing right by me. We're kind of back behind everybody. I didn't really know what was about to happen. I mean, it was like, well, I guess if he misses this, we win. So
and like you said,
no, go ahead.
It's like you said, you can only, there's so much good in that week that you can't let the one negative thing affect how good of a week that was, regardless of if you win or not. And I know you guys are in this to win. That there was so much good that week. Like you can play that good at golf that the win is going to come.
Just the whole week. It was just a tough week. It's a tough golf course. We got some tough conditions on it. I mean, I was honestly just really happy with the whole week. We managed this ball really well. I mean, there were certain shots on different days where you almost just couldn't hit the green. It was about just leaving it in the right spot. I mean, I was just happy with how good a job we did positioning his ball where he could score it. I think his strokes gained around the green was something silly that week. I mean, he chipped in a couple times and stuff, but it was all like we left the ball in the proper spots and managed everything right, and therefore it ended up to a great chance to win.
It just shows how hard it is to win golf tournaments. I mean, even going back to the Memorial 2 years ago, like I remember, and you'll probably remember this, and I don't know if they showed it on camera. I think they showed it on camera, but I don't know if it was 18 when you guys were up 1. He hit that wedge after laying up to that back flag at Muirfield. And he thought he hit it from the fairway. It looked like you thought he hit a good wedge.
Really
and it kind of stayed on that back edge.
Been a little bit more than that. I know. We were hitting a pretty hard
normally
there.
Normally it does from that backstop because that green.
They've softened that green. They've softened it. It's in the last few years since they redid it. It's not the severe slope it used to be where all those balls were just rolling back to the pin from the back edge.
Yeah,
but
and even then, he hit 2 really good putts. I mean, even in the playoff, he hit that. I mean, he lit for par. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. We can talk about good things. Let's transition to the Masters and kind of the after the loss, like you mentioned, going to Augusta. Was that your first time there? I know it was Danny's first Masters.
It was our first Masters. So we went to the property for the first time together in February.
Okay,
and. He played, him and Lee Hodges was there doing the same thing with his caddy. Him and Lee played, you have to take a local caddy till the week of the tournament or whatever. So they had a couple caddies, and me and Meds, Lee Hodges' caddy, just walked around. That was my first time on property. Meds had been there before. He worked for Jimmy Walker for a couple years and had done one for him. But no, it was a really cool first trip. Just why? I mean, it was better, at least for what I had to do, than even playing. Just getting to walk around
Yeah.
and kind of take everything in and see what it was. There's nothing really surprising about the place. You're like, you've seen it on TV for
Yeah.
as long as I've been watching golf. You get on every green complex and you're like, well, yep, that's exactly what, you can't, TV
Yeah.
doesn't do it justice, but you've seen what balls roll to.
Yeah.
So then you get on these things and it's like, yeah, that's what this is. Like, nothing was surprising. Every hole's great. I mean, it's just a cool place. It's like another world out there.
Yeah.
And so we had been there. He took another trip back and played with his dad and brother in March. So he had been another time. But yeah, so you're just getting back. I mean, another golf tournament. I mean, our stats guy had a lot of good stuff for how to get around the golf course, which was helpful being the first time and knowing how to position the ball, getting insight into how to get the ball positioned to certain flags and things. It made it a lot easier for me, especially the first 2 rounds. The wind blew 25 the whole time, so it was a rude introduction for sure, but it was a lot of fun. Cool week.
You guys shot 68 or 69 to make the cut on Friday.
I don't think he shot that low. No,
Maybe it was the first day.
4 over. No, I think I think we ended up shooting a couple over both. I don't remember the exact scores, but the 16th.
Maybe I'm thinking of Pinehurst.
Maybe, but
well,
no.
Anyway, I digress.
So we were early on Friday, which was good with the way the weather got.
Yeah, I remember that.
We had a pretty good draw. But he hit it in the water on 16 Thursday and Friday and made 5 there both days. So it was kind of one of those deals. After he made the second double on 16, it was early enough in the day, like he kind of thought he was maybe going to miss the cut.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sure he was. Like, I monitor those things more than him. He didn't worry about that or whatever. But and I remember he made a comment after that thinking he'd thrown. I was like, no, just calm down and play. Like, just play the last couple holes. We're okay. It's going to get brutal out here or whatever. I think the cut even got all the way to 6 over, but I'm pretty sure we finished it 4 over. I think he was 4 over, a double on 16 again. Yeah. Parred the last 2, and then carnage broke loose. It got. We were outside the cut line when we finished, but it got to 5. It got to us pretty fast. Yeah. And then it got to 5, and I think it got nasty enough that even 6s got in. But
yeah. Anyway, but that was got to be an awesome week. So I guess walk me through what that week looks like from a prep standpoint. Like Tuesday, obviously, your guys are, I'm assuming, doing a practice on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday the par 3 contest. So let's start with Monday and just like what does your week look like going into that week, like from Monday all the way to Sunday?
Just 12-hour days. I was out there on the golf course. So you're supposed to be off the course by 3:00 on Wednesday. Okay. So you've got that window to do whatever you want to do on the golf course. Obviously, we were playing the week before, so I had to cram it into 2.5 days plus whatever he wanted to do. Yeah. So it was just a lot of roaming around the course. I was out there with a couple of reflectors. So the yardage book there is very basic. Like, you don't have any up downs in it. And there's obviously a lot of up down shot stuff. You've got to get all that, and then the angles and stuff on a couple of the par 5s, like mainly 8 and 13. You can lay it up to places where you have a really hard time getting a number if you don't get extra numbers. So I was like out there with reflectors and just shooting a billion number. Yeah, I mean, my book. Yeah, I think I've looked at it since that week. But it was a complete nightmare. The amount of numbers I had in there on those couple holes, just to simplify it to where you can do it in a timely manner. I mean, you can use geometry and get it right, but it takes too long from a lot of those places and things like that. So that's the most of it, being there the first time and really having to, but that's really every year. I mean, all the caddies who've been there several times were out there doing very similar things. And, and you're always out there. It was a weird, in the sense, going back to San Antonio, it was weird it was interesting being out there, because you're in your jumpsuit the whole time on the course too. Yeah. There's fans around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's people everywhere. So I'm out coursework. I'm walking around with McCarthy on my back. They don't necessarily know me, but most everybody there's a real golf fan and saw what happened. So it was a lot of. I think I only got one snide comment from the fans as far as anything negative, but everybody was pretty nice and had cool things to say. But so I mean, it was a fun couple of days.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's my favorite place in the world. I got to go. Luckily, I mean, I got the towel here, this 12 Amen corner right here. But my dad took me in 2011, the year I would say year Rory shot 80 was the year I went to a practice round. Like you said, the camera doesn't do it justice. It's my favorite place on earth. I would love to go play it one day if I ever get the chance. I mean, it's every golfer's dream, right?
Right.
But the par three contest, I saw the wife was on the bag. Were you worried that maybe she was going to take your spot that
I
week?
have never. I didn't. Yeah, that was never even considered. I was out doing coursework when he was doing that.
Yeah.
I was cramming in the last little bit of coursework I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't even seen the par three course. That's what all I've really seen is. So you go right in the gate, right off Washington Road. There is like the Caddie area. Park across the street, walk right in the gate. Range is there, everything. I've seen that in the golf course. I was kind of like, I didn't wander really anywhere to see much of anything. Be something new to see next year or whenever, you know.
For sure.
I wasn't.
And I believe are you guys in for next year already?
No, not already. I mean, his world ranking probably should stay in the top 50 the rest of the year. But yeah, I mean, no, not 100% in at this point. But a really good chance, I would think. He shouldn't really fall in the not playing much this fall. He might play if he does, but I would think there's no way his world ranking will drop that far. He's not losing much for as far as what will fall off, and his divisor should also come down. So I would think he's probably okay, but don't hold me to that.
For sure.
He's not. We'll take care of it to start next year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. So do you have any good stories from Augusta that week that you could share outside of like any conversations, anything cool?
No, nothing really crazy. I mean, it was a fun week. I was pretty happy with what we did overall as far as, being the conditions that were given to us. Those first couple days, especially, just as far as felt like we hit the right shot most of the time. And, I mean, there was, nothing really stood out. There's not, no draw, like nothing. Yeah, I mean, it was close. He played really well those first couple days. I mean, the 2-5, 16 were really the only thing that kept him from having a really good start to the tournament and being in a pretty good spot. Not that we were going to go shoot 12 or 13 under or whatever Scotty did to us, but we could have been a little closer than he was for sure. But I mean, it was a decent Masters.
It's your first time. Not everyone's Ludwig, right? Not everyone can go get second their first time around Augusta. It's typically a course in a tournament that you need some experience at. But we're hoping Denny plays well. Many Masters to come. So let's hope for some good weeks.
It's definitely a place he can do really well. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like there's not many courses he can't do very well at, given how he putts.
That's a fact. It's got to be where the harder the better, almost even. So
Yeah, I tend to agree. If you look at some of the courses he's played well on or had good finishes at, they tend to be the more difficult of the golf courses.
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting because he's not the longest.
But places like Quail Hollow and Muirfield, where he's played well the last few years, were places early in his career he kind of hated. I mean, didn't like it all. That's more an indication how far his ball striking's come. I mean, there are places you have to hit quality golf shots, and his first few years on tour, he struggled to do that. Where now he's getting to where he can, and we've had some really nice weeks on some really hard places.
Hell yeah! Well, let's talk a little bit about your game, man. You are a really good fucking golfer. Obviously, just won the Mid-Am qualifier, I think, about a month ago. So let's talk a little bit about your game.
I'm 2 for 2 in qualifying for the Mid-Am. I got my amateur status back in like 21. A couple of years. The first time I've tried to even qualify for the Mid-Am, because it's the first time I could actually play the Mid-Am. It always overlapped with something we were going to play in the fall. This new schedule, you don't have to play in the fall. If you have a great year, then that kind of opens that up. So it's something to do. I still enjoy playing. It's basically what I do when I'm home. It is my hobby. So I stay after. I mean, I like to compete. I love hitting competitive golf shots, so I try to do it as much as I can.
Yeah. And
So,
so I know we joked in DMs about it, what happens if you both qualify for Augusta next year. I don't want to jinx it. We're not going to we're pulling for you. But I
uh,
guess, do you keep a handicap?
we'll worry. Yeah, I do actually keep that. That's
Oh,
half what I have to like even play again. Just what makes rounds that don't matter kind of matter a little
yeah.
bit. Keep a little focus, but yeah, I've got a handicap, and yeah, as far as the master, we'll worry about that if that
Yeah.
was.
No, I know.
I got a little
For
work to
sure.
do, but
For
you know,
sure.
so
What do you play at? Are you like a +5, +6?
yeah, it hovers back and forth.
That's so gross, man.
So
We just had Feely on, who just waxed the field last week,
yeah,
61, 64, and I
Healy's
asked him the same question.
yeah,
I'm like, how are you guys this
he's
good and not on tour?
he's one of the few caddies I wouldn't claim to be better than. He can play. He can
Yeah,
play.
everyone.
We played a little golf together. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
he hits big boy golf shots.
he's
He's
good.
really really good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, I'm a +1, so I'm decent. But like,
Yeah,
here's the thing: is not many people realize, like, it goes like, to get from where I am to get where you are is so hard and so small. Like, it's one or two shots here that turn a 68 into a 74 for you versus me, and versus getting
yeah,
from like a 10 to a scratch, I think is somewhat easier. But getting from good to really good is so hard.
yeah.
And like, the fact that you're still able to hold that type of handicap is pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
I think a lot of it for me, like I don't hit it as well as like the end of when I was playing all the time, just from not
Yeah,
playing as much and stuff. I mean, I've maintained on my speed. I can hit it far enough to play anywhere.
yeah,
But a lot of me being able to shoot scores is I just being pretty good at hitting the right shots, like especially on really
yeah,
hard golf courses. Like I just know kind of it's instinctual at this point because of my job to just know what to do on certain holes. So like even my
right,
qualifying stuff, like I played a handful of holes. It's the same course I qualified at last year or whatever. I played a handful of holes out there completely different than everybody else. Like
yeah,
it was kind of a weird golf course. There was a bunch of gettable holes, and then there's like some not as gettable holes where if you make they can be gettable, but you got to like take on trouble and stuff to even do it.
yeah,
And like things like that just help shoot the scores that are I feel like I shoot a lot of scores that are above my actual ability
yeah,
because simply from course management and knowing how to read putts.
yeah. Do you play with Denny a lot, and do you beat him?
We don't play together a lot because I don't really see him when we're not on the road.
Yeah,
We play like the week of Honda and stuff. We'll play here and there
yeah,
uh, on some time, but we haven't played together a ton just from not. He's always playing a tournament. He's not playing any
right.
fun when we're
Busy,
together. So,
busy. Yeah, for sure.
but
Well, that's awesome, man. It's cool that you get to, like I said, it's cool that you're still competitive, right? And you're still able to do stuff. Like, I love competing. I grew up playing a lot of sports. Like, I grew up playing hockey, golf, baseball, whatever. Like, I'm a super competitive guy. So I love to see you still got the drive to go back and get your AM status, and now you're playing some tournaments, and you get some shout outs. I don't know how much golf YouTube or podcast you watch. You got a shout out from Gino. He said you were the best golfer on Subpar. He said
yeah,
you are the best one of the bunch. So you get some praise
I
from
mean,
the fellow caddies.
yeah, no, it's cool. I've played a lot of golf with Gino. He yeah, he's into a lot. He could be really good too. He's just into a lot of other stuff and
Yeah.
doesn't focus on it as much
Yeah, he's
as
a
I
Netflix
do. But
star now.
he's a really good player. A lot of fun to play golf with. Gino, yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of my better caddy buddies for sure. I've never had anything but fun with Gino. We played.
Yeah.
We got to know them well. We kind of randomly played the Zurich with them Denny's rookie year.
Okay.
In a long story how that even happened, and then last year we tried it again. They should have done it again a few times in between. We tried
Yeah.
again an okay week, but yeah, I mean it's a lot of fun being around those guys, and yeah, Gino's the man.
Gino's a good dude. Gino, if you see this, open
Yeah.
invite to come on. I've been trying to get you on. What's in the bag? What kind of clubs do you play?
Ping.
All
Ping.
ping?
Yeah, I've got a TaylorMade mini driver and 5-wood.
Oh yeah. Same.
They're all Ping. Still some.
How do you like the mini driver? You
That's
love
great.
it?
It's great. I
Dude,
just put it in back this spring. It's like
yeah, same.
a lot of use for a 3-wood. I mean, I've got it cut down and enough loft on there that it doesn't go too far. You can just kind of hit more shots with it, more tee shots with it. You can almost cut it a little bit and still get.
Yeah.
I can actually cut it and still get it to go somewhere. You know, like a 3-wood's always been. You try to cut a 3-wood, it can get spinny and not really go anywhere. There's just not as many tee shots with it. But no, it's been cool. I just don't play a lot of courses where I need 3-woods to attack par 5s or anything. Like it just not missing anything, not having that.
It's so funny you said the same thing. I literally hate 3-woods. I never use mine. I go driver 2-iron. Well, I went, and then I got the mini driver, and I same thing. I like hitting more shots. I like hitting low cuts, low draws. I've got it cranked down to like 12 and a half, 13, so I can still get up in the air a little bit if I need to. But it's such more of a versatile club. But good to know. I put it in the bag literally like I think end of April. So same time, and I've loved it. It's not leaving my bag anytime soon.
Yeah, that's why I did kind of trying to turn my driver into crank up some speed and make it. I'm usually swinging pretty hard at it. If there's nowhere for that to go, then the mini driver becomes a nice option.
Yeah, distance is everything. What's your lowest round?
My lowest round, 60. I've never shot 50s. I shot the little Muni where I went to high school was probably 6,200 yards, little par 71. Yeah. I don't think there was a par 5 over 490.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shot 60 there. I want to say 3 times. I know at least twice. I think 3 times. Twice I had a putt for 59, but never. Definitely a place I feel like I could have done it if I played at any after high school. But no, I never crept into the 50s.
Just though you're so laxative, I just shot 60 3 times. No big deal. It is what it is. It wasn't at TPC Deer Run, so. TPC, River Highlands. You guys almost had a 59 at River Highlands that one year. I shot 60.
Touched hole for 59.
Yeah, it did. I remember that. Oh yeah, you forgot you guys got the little bounce off the off the knob there.
We didn't even hit the right shot back there. It was kind of. We've had that scenario twice. He's had that scenario twice on tour.
For 59,
we were hitting an iron shot for 59. The first one was the first event of the 1920 season was at Greenbrier.
Okay.
And that Friday, I think he came out Thursday and shot like 3 over or something. We were way down there. And we were Friday afternoon, and he went out and shot like 27 or 8 on the front 9. Blew through the 9. And we got all the way around to 18, that par 3. There was a back left pin. It was a 9-iron at it to just right of it every time. And we weren't on the cut line. We were probably in 25th place because of even being 10 under for or 9 under for the day, whatever. Yeah. And I said to him on the tee, I'm like, well, we have to try and make it, don't we? Because it had to be some kind of 8-iron, but hitting 8-iron, you brought in this back bunker, which was bogey and whatever, it's kind of one of those weird shots. If it wasn't our 59th shot of the day, we never hit anything but 9-iron. And he hit it back to like 8 or 9 feet. I don't think he made the putt. I think he shot 60. Yeah. But anyway, so the same scenario at River Highlands last time.
Yeah.
Where it was we didn't even just kind of like, well, we'll just cut this 7-iron back there and try and make it. Yeah. And he wiped it a little, hit that knob, and I could see. You can't see the green, but I could see from to the right. I could see the knob, and I was like, so you knew it was coming down right of the hole, like whatever. And then I saw it hit that knob and kick left, and then the next thing you know, the fans are going like acting like it's about to go in, and we're like,
that would have been awesome, man. Let's talk a little bit about some caddy stories. We can go. We can take this a number of different directions. I know we talked about Brookline. We can talk about whatever, but I try to do this for when I ever get a caddy on. I think you guys tell some great stories. So let's start with Brookline, and then we'll go to and then we'll go from there. But walk me through that week, kind of his best major finish to date, 2022 U.S. Open.
Yeah. So the Brookline story would start with qualifying. So, like I said, we met the week after he played at Oakmont in the U.S. Open. He had played, so that would have been 15 and 16. He qualified as an amateur in 15 for Chambers Bay.
Yep.
And then again, his first year as a pro for Oakmont before I knew him. So he was coming from there. So he hadn't played a U.S. Open. So he qualified for those at Woodmont in D.C. with his brother caddying. And so every year until Brookline, he had done the same, gone back to Woodmont, and then his brother just caddied. I've never seen Woodmont. So, so there was a handful of years I'm just locked into qualifying. He had a couple good chances, barely missed a couple times. Anyway, so that was the first year. So we played. So he finally said, "Screw that." We played Memorial the week before the normal, and then he's like, "We're going to do Columbus." So I'm caddying now because it's in Columbus. Day after the Memorial, so he has a good week at the Memorial. I think I want to say he finished 6th. Had a great week, and we go. What was I going to say? We're playing qualifying Monday morning. We're at like Kinsale was his first round. I'm going to struggle to remember scores. I want to say he shot 2 or 3 under, kind of a whatever round. Got off to a good start. Maybe scraped it around a little bit. We're okay. He goes to Wedgwood was the other course. And so Wedgwood, so he had, I don't know if we had a good yardage book for Kinsale, like a tour, like the same ones we have on tour. So that was, he hadn't seen either course. I'd done very little at Kinsale because we had a good yardage book. Wedgwood was a little different. There was a yardage book, but it wasn't as detailed and there were quirkier holes. So I had done like a decent amount of work out there, whatever day during the week. I think it was like Thursday or Friday afternoon, whichever day we'd played early at Memorial. I went and drove around and got all this stuff. And there's a handful of tee shots out there. They're like around corners, over trees and stuff, where I have to tell him, like, it looks like a tight tee shot, but I'm like giving him a line over trees, like driver right there. Like, you just have to trust me. So that day was actually a lot of fun because I got to just tell him things where he didn't even get to have his own idea. And I better be right, So we're kind of cruising along. We're in good shape. We're never really safe to qualify, but he's always in good shape kind of that whole day. And we started on the back 9, I remember, at Wedgwood. And we come around, 17 was a par 3. He'd hit it like 30 or 40 feet long and 3-putted. So he's a little hot, whatever. We're still fine. He goes to 18 as a 600 play. It's over 600 yards. We had some wind help. Widest tee shot ever. Just bust driver there. And he gets up there and smashes it. And we get down there. I mean, it's an auto layup hole. So there's water on both sides. It's kind of hard to describe the hole. It's really strange. There's literally a pond on both sides leading up to this green. It's all fairway up to the green, but there's a pond both. And there's a back right pin. I'm pretty sure we had 275 with some wind help to this back right pin. And he's like, I'm hitting 3. We were in a twosome at that point. We'd lost our third. We may have been a twosome all day. Either way, our other guy was having trouble, taking forever, which happened to be a good thing. As we're standing out there, like, he's ready. He's kind of half tilted. He's tired from playing Memorial, like getting a little grumpy after the year or whatever. And I know scores, like, our only objective is to qualify. And he's like, I'm hitting 3-wood. And it was a perfect 3-wood, and I'm like, no, you're not. We're laying up. And he's like standing there looking at the hole, like, well, where am I going to lay up? Like, I'm going to have to hit, because there's the pond on the right. You're laying up short of it, and it's like 130 yards in front of us. Yeah. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to lay up with? I'm like, it's a gap wedge. Like, it's the weirdest thing. We're in the middle of the fairway. Like, it's literally gap wedge. Is the proper way to play the rest of the hole. And he's like, I'm not playing up with gap wedge. So we stood there. It had to be 3 minutes. We stood there and argued. And I finally talk him out of it. He takes this gap wedge. He pulls it into the left first cut. He didn't even hit the fairway with gap wedge. So then he was a little grumpy, so I didn't say it at the time. I said it later. Like, where do you think that 3-wood was going? Like, you didn't even lay it up in this 50-yard wide fairway with gap wedge. So we go up there. He's got a gap wedge left. He hits it to like 7 feet. I'm like, okay, perfect. We're fine. Well, he misses the damn putt. He doesn't even make the putt. We're still fine. He goes to 9 holes left. I think he made a 15 or 18 footer for birdie on one, and we kind of cruised the rest of the way. Yeah. No real stress. There were some rain delays in there and stuff. It was a long kind of whatever day, but we got in the U.S. Open, so bang. So this is Brookline. Now we're to Brookline or whatever. Yeah. And, really, really fun week. My first U.S. Open, obviously. Brookline was amazing. Incredible golf course.
Love the venue.
We started on the back 9 early Thursday morning. we come around. He was struggling. He was like 5 over with 4 holes left. I remember him saying this is the first round. We're like 5 over par. It's the U.S. Open, so we're not dead or whatever. It was like this.
Right.
Why did I even try to qualify for this? Just stop and make 2 birdies. 8 was a gettable par 5. He was gonna have a couple other looks. He birdies 8, makes like a 30-footer for birdie on 9. We shoot 3 over par. Fine, everything's fine. That night was cool. I actually went and watched the NBA Finals that night since we were early late.
Oh, yeah.
The Warriors closed out the Celtics that night in the NBA Finals. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah. Really fun week. Comes out the next day, plays a solid round, makes a good par on 18 to make the cut on the number on Friday. 3 over. So we go out early, and then Saturday got nasty. He shoots 2 under early, moves up to like 11th. Goes from the cut line to 11th. Shoots 2 under again on Sunday, and little T7 and U.S. Open. It was a lot of fun. He played great that week. So after
awesome.
The slow start, I mean, I think what was it if the number we were on? I think we would have either been in a playoff or 1 by 1 if he was even par through those first 14 or something was the number.
Yeah. That's tournament golf for you, man.
So point being, after that slow start, he played some really great golf. So
and I've heard him talk about he went on. I think I've only seen him do a couple of podcasts, but he went on Smiley's podcast or Smiley Show last year. And I remember him talking about. And he actually gave credit and homage to you about like keeping him going and keeping him upbeat. But he's like, I only need to see one go in, or like I only need to see one. Like it could be a 5-footer, it could be a 20-footer. Where once I get one, I can make them in bunches. Yeah. And obviously he did that at Valero, right, where he made the 1 on 10. And I meant to ask you about that, but 1 on 10, and then he just kept going. And so he's such a very streaky player. But it's cool to see you guys make some birdies, and he can just flip the switch like that, which is so cool to see.
Just goes, I mean, it's at that point, my job just becomes hit the right shot, and he's going to go make a birdie.
Yeah. And that's got to be such a cool feeling too. So let's talk about the 2019 waste management, and something you wanted me to add to. So I'll turn it over to you.
I figured that was whatever you'd found article interviews and stuff. When I fixed the terrible Caddie alignment rule by accident. But that just became a weird one. Like anybody, without going through the whole story, I mean, anybody that saw it knew it was garbage. I mean, we weren't. I mean, I knew the rule. Like it was the most about thing. So it was 2019 when a bunch of rules changed. Well, the one we talked about the most was the Caddie alignment one because it was so strict on like where you could stand and everything. So I was well aware of the rule. I'd never lined him up. We'd never even considered it when it was legal. Right. So, the fact where we were even having to talk about it meant the rule was written pretty terribly. No intention to ever line him up. We never discussed it. And so weird scenario where I'm standing there. Guy was in the drop zone. We'd also hit it in the water. Denny had also hit it in the water. We had dropped to the side. Another guy was in the drop zone. So I was like just standing on the line of play. We're looking at this 50-yard pitch shot. He's standing there taking practice swings next to the ball, and I'm just standing back there talking about where we're going to land it or whatever. I walk off. Denny backs out of the shot, goes in there and hits it again, and finishes the hole. He got up and down. He made the putt, still made 5. We come around, Ken Tackett, the rules official, meets us on the bridge behind the green. Like he was sitting back there because we were getting looked at for our pace. For whatever reason. And he says, he tells us about it. I remember walking to 16T. I was like, well, they were going to go review it. They didn't give us a penalty right there. Like we're fine. There's no way we did anything or whatever. So then we go around. We started on the back, so that was 15. We go around to number 2, coming off the tee, and he comes over and gives us a penalty. He tells us it was a penalty, and we whatever. Finished the round. I just remember whatever. He misses a birdie look there. He eagles 3, the par 5. He plays in like 3 or 4 under. We make the cut. We're like the cut. I want to say was 3 under. He gets to like 7 under or whatever. So maybe we're only 5 because of the penalty, something like that, 5 or 6. Maybe I think we finished at 6. Cut was 3 with the penalty, so he should have been 8. So whatever. The next day, it's being talked about all night. It's like the talk of golf.
I remember hot topic.
Even on the, I remember telling Denny on the putting green the Saturday morning, like, I don't think this is over. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but this whole thing's not over. And, we blocked it out playing the round of golf, and we're on 11 that day. We started on 1, so we're on 11. So we played exactly 18 holes. Slugger White comes driving up. And we played 18 holes since they gave us the penalty or whatever. Comes driving up and asked to talk to Denny. I remember asking Slugger, like, is it okay if I'm here? Like, I'm like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. So he starts talking, and before he even says it, I'm already thinking, I'm like, holy crap, they're about to give us those 2 shots back. Sure enough, we made an eagle walking down the 11th fairway. They gave us the penalty back. So, I mean, luckily, it was just a stupid deal. It was a terribly written rule. They instantly modified the rule to what it is now, which is clear, easy to avoid a penalty.
Yeah.
And, so it just became a really weird, unnecessary moment due to a really poorly written rule. But I'm happy to get it fixed. I still joke with guys, like, you're getting that fixed. It was our 24 – we had the 24-hour mess just to help everybody out, but it was going to happen to somebody at some point.
Yeah. Well, glad you guys were able to get it fixed. Let's ask you a couple questions just about off course. So, what do you like to do off the golf course? I know you're a big sports guy. I know you got 2 daughters, but what does your life look like when you're not golfing?
Watch a lot of sports. Hang out with my wife and a lot of trips and stuff. But yeah, it's football season. Locked into every game I can find.
Are you OU or Arkansas?
OU, 100%.
OU.
So yeah, I mean, I root for the Hogs just by default, but OU everything far and away. Since I was a kid, my sister went there too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's OU football is life in Oklahoma. Like so that's it's always been a lot of fun. I mean, the 90s were a little, when I was a kid, I mean, I've watched them lose to Tulsa and whoever else in Norman back these when the little low period after getting in some trouble. But Stoops brought them back, and every season's a lot of fun. I actually even went to the game against Temple.
Oh, hell yeah.
Not sure how many games I'm going to get to go to this year. Their home schedules, most of their home games are early. So, but yeah.
You think they're going to do well in the SEC?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. They've got a good football team. I think they'll be okay. I mean, I could see a little bit of everything. I mean, they're not far behind anyone in like recruiting classes and stuff. So, I mean, it's not like there's a big talent issue. It's just a matter of putting together some teams. Obviously, it's a really tough league, and they're going to lose some games, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, I like it in the sense of, some of these years in the Big 12, we just get faked into, I never really thought we were that great, but get tricked into thinking they're a lot better than they are, and you find out the wrong way in December. Like, not really that surprising to any of it. I didn't think those games they were getting blasted in, I never really thought they had any chance to win them, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
but
funny.
You're either good or you're not, and you'll find out real fast playing in the SEC.
Oh yeah, I'm a Michigan State guy, so I'm rooting. I don't know who I'm going to root for this week, Texas, or I can't root for Michigan because Texas and Michigan this weekend. But I get it. Michigan State made the year.
You got that issue. I mean, it's go blue around here. But the SEC thing cracks me up. It's how they all root for each other and stuff. Like we don't have any of that.
No.
The OU fans don't side with any of that. We hope you all lose every game you play.
I'm the same way. I hope Michigan loses. I hope they go 0-12.
Yeah.
My wife's a Buckeye, so I've kind of adopted. I'm not proud to say it because my entire family is Wolverines, but I'm somewhat of a Buckeye now, ish. So I can root for 2 Big Ten schools by marriage. But I'm Michigan State through and through. All right, man. Well, let's do some rapid fires, and I'll get you out of here. I've already kept you far too long. I really appreciate you jumping on today. But before I go, I have one more question. Then we'll do the rapid fires because I want to do this. But I have a brother-in-law who lives in Joplin, Missouri. So if we ever get down there, I know it's somewhat close to Fayetteville.
Yeah.
I'll challenge you to a match. I'll take 1 or 2 aside, and we'll see how it goes. I'm a competitor. You're a competitor. Let's see.
We'll go play the blessings. You better hit it straight.
That's not my game, so I might be in trouble. We'll see though. I'm long, but not the straightest some days. We'll see though. We'll see. I like those
But
that wide fairway
that's
that
why
you
you
were
got that
talking
mini
about.
driver.
I know.
We won't play from the 8,000 yards that you can out.
Oh, thank God.
We'll play from like 72.
All right, all right. Let's do some rapid fires. Speaking of golf courses, what is your favorite golf course?
Favorite golf course? I know I get asked this all the time. It was probably like Riviera, somewhere like that.
Okay.
I mean, Augusta was really cool. That can be.
Yeah.
I mean, just the amount that Augusta didn't disappoint makes it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily just call it the greatest course ever, but it's hard to have that high expectations for something and then not be disappointed by it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the golf courses out here are so like that these guys get to play are so good. I mean, it's a little bit of all of them, but yeah, something like Riviera though that's been there that long that they haven't changed that much. It's just awesome.
Favorite tour stop?
RSM.
Okay. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I've got a buddy who lives 5 minutes from the course. We have a great. It's always like the last event of the year.
Yeah.
It used to be a part of this. Like even so, last year we were playing it. It was just for fun, basically, because it didn't.
Yeah.
That was the first time there were no points or anything that mattered.
Right.
We're just getting back into it to get ready for the season, and it's always a lot of fun. We have a good time. I hang around. He's a member at Sea Island, so we hang around and play golf on the Monday after. It's just a really fun week.
What's how many hole in ones do you have?
7.
7. Okay. How many does Denny have? Do you know?
I think he has 3.
3.
The 2 he's made on tour, and then he made one. Because I remember when he made the one at the Players, it was technically a second, and the one was like in qualifying back at UVA or something. So.
Yeah. We got some crazy answers. Willie has 20, which I know you're tight with Willie, which is wild that somebody has that many hole in ones.
He hits it really good. I can see his ball finding a way to go in the hole that many times.
I've got 0. I've seen like 8.
Really?
It's luck. I do one summer. I saw like 5 in 6 weeks. My dad, my 2 best friends, a couple other guys. My other best friend, I've seen his albatross and his ace. So I just get wrecked, man. Everyone was always like, "You want to play golf?" And I'm like, "Fuck you! No, I don't want to play golf with you."
No, but that makes me think. My most fun one was definitely. I think it was last November. I play all our guys here. We all have $1 a yard game, so you're in the group. You're in for $1 a yard on any one. Or what? I made a 5-iron from like 208 on the 17th. Blessings with 3 of them there. I was like, we're playing whatever little $10 games or this and that.
Yeah.
One of them in particular was playing pretty well and going to win the most money or whatever. Yeah. He lost like almost $600 that day because of one, or not 600. Sorry, almost 200. He lost $150 that day playing great because of one shot.
Speaking of one shot, I'm debuting this one. Feely didn't give us an answer, but you got one mulligan for Denny. Where would you use it and why?
One mulligan, probably the tee shot on the 72nd hole at Memorial.
Yeah.
He made it. He made a really good swing. That was a tough win for that tee shot. He thinks he probably it looked like he made a really good swing. I think he just got set up a little too far left, and then kind of with the wind was like in out of the left, and then he just made a great swing and hit like a little tight draw in the wind that just never got moved back to the fairway. I mean, I'd say that ball is up in the fairway, we're going to win that golf tournament.
I agree, and that is such a not to get off too that that is one of the hardest finishing holes on tour that you guys play every year, and you don't have to hit that bad of a shot to hit, and that rough is penal. You got to lay up.
Buddy, we couldn't. I don't know how far he hit that ball, but it couldn't have been 100 yards.
I remember watching
pitching wedge as hard as he could hit it. The ball was buried.
Yeah, which is wild. Okay, caddy role model. I think you've answered this before. I'm curious if it's still the same answer.
Yeah, probably my boy Paul Tesori.
Paul,
sure. him, and then even basically like Ted Scott, just kind of their energy almost. Yeah. Not just how they kind of always have something, the right thing to say. Always have energy. Always into it. I mean those 2 guys. I've spent a lot more time with Paul. Around him, we have some great conversations about everything. Yeah, and then just Teddy, like that guy Ted has
Teddy's
more
awesome.
energy than
Yeah.
I mean, he's gotten into pickleball now. He doesn't even hardly play golf anymore. I played a decent amount of golf with him,
He's
but
a
nah,
stick, isn't
he's
he?
a
Or he used to
pickleball
be.
guy now too. Yeah, I mean his
Yeah.
golf game's not as good anymore. Yeah, he could really play, but
Yeah.
he can't anymore because he's a pickleball pro. So he
That's
doesn't
awesome.
he
Well,
doesn't play anymore.
Paul follows the show. Paul, we'd love to get you on. You're now the fourth time Paul's been shouted out as a role model. I think every cat we've had on
Yeah,
has said
I mean,
Paul is a role model.
it's
And those two are going to be, if I ever get Ted or Paul, we'll be lucky enough. But those are going to be two of my Holy Grail interviews. So if you guys are listening, we'd love to have you on sometime.
I've enjoyed every conversation I've ever had with those two.
Paul, man, what a year for Teddy. I think I was listening to No Laying Up. And I'm not going to ask you for any specifics on the payment structure, but if they take the traditional 10%, he was like number 26 on the money list this year which is wild, man. Good time to be in professional golf.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, and then we'll let you go. What is the coolest golf moment of your life?
Yeah, like I pretty much said it earlier. That back nine at Valero was. Yeah, it's just a shame that won't get appreciated like it should because we didn't quite get it finished up. But yeah, I mean that was just what the whole day was kind of fun because I always felt like we had a chance. Then it got to that point where like I was telling you, still on the 10th green, I was like, we still had a chance. Like we weren't coasting along, just letting this thing go.
Right.
He just never guided to second. No. And for him to do that, it was just awesome to see. Really fun to be a part of.
Awesome, man. Well, Derek, thank you so much for the time joining the Caddie Corner here on the Scratch Golf Show. Denny, if you see this, we're looking forward to getting you on. Thanks for lending your guide to us for a little bit today. Before I go, I got to make one request from you. When you guys get the first one that week, we got to get you on again. I don't like asking people for recurring guests, but when you guys get that first win, we got to get combination of one of your two or both of you guys on that week.
Be happy to. We can get on here and go over every shot.
Hell yeah, Derek. Well, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate the time. Any plugs? Any businesses? Anything you want to shout out? Anything? More than happy before we sign off.
No, I mean, I'll just say Ping and Jumbo Max for taking great care of me. Yeah, that's why I got the old big grips on there. I threw them on back in.
I got mid-size. Dude, I went to mid-size jumbo last year. It's the best decision I ever made. I don't know how I didn't do it before. I've hit it straighter and better than I ever have.
I mean,
awesome.
It was something I kind of felt and had to try. Shout out to Braden Shattuck. I met him in a Titleist truck at the PGA, and he had them like the biggest XL Jumbo Maxes. And I'm sitting there, we getting Denny a backup driver built or something. And it was the first time I'd really seen a good player that had them on there. I mean, obviously Bryce has been playing them forever, but he does a whole different thing. He never even whatever. So they're sitting there, we're just chatting and like, show me what's going on here. And I'm picking up the club. It's like, man, it feels kind of terrible, but I think I have to try it. Like I took it back. It was something I was kind of trying to feel or whatever. I was like, I have to try it. And then, they went on there and they're still on there. So
are you an arm lock guy or are you a traditional putter?
I have arm locked it. I did actually arm lock it some last year. Even in the mid-am, but more traditional now. I'm just a longer putter, up to like 36 and a half, and with a blade that doesn't have much toe hang. So
cool. Mostly
traditional, cross-handed, but not getting too careful. The arm lock's always there. I know. Yeah. I know. As I get older, I can always fall into it. I putted a bunch. Not playing as much competitive golf the last several years. That's what I've tinkered with the most is putting. Yeah. I can putt at least average a whole bunch of different ways.
Whatever way is hot.
Just something. Yeah. I don't change that much. At least not if I'm going to be playing in something. But it's something I get myself interested with and tinkered around with, looking for something that feels amazing. It gets tough watching Denny putt so well all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You get your expectations for what good putting looks like get a little skewed. So I'm usually fine.
I bet.
So.
All right, man. Derek, I could keep you here for another couple hours, man. We can keep going, but you've already been super gracious, man. You got an open invite to come on the Scratch Golf Show whenever. I'm a huge fan of you guys. Like I said, thank you so much. Really appreciate
Let's
it,
Derek. Do it again. Let's play some golf sometime.
Sweet, man. All right. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Subscribe, like, all the good stuff. Appreciate the time today, guys. Thanks, Derek.
Margo, thanks.